Be silent until your success is so loud no one can ignore it. There's a moment in life when understanding this changes everything. When you discover that true power makes no noise, it doesn't need to explain itself. It doesn't justify itself. Because real success is not announced, it is proven. This audiobook is not made for those seeking approval. It is made for those who are ready to build in the shadows, to strengthen their mind in silence, and show up in the world like a storm of results no one saw coming. Here you won't find empty motivation. You'll find mental tools, practical decisions, and invisible habits. That will turn you into the kind of person who no longer needs to prove anything, because success will do the talking for you. Are you ready to stay focused without applause? To become strong in the dark while everyone waits for the light? Then let's begin. Because this path is only walked by those who are destined to shine. Chapter 1. No one needs to know your plan, only your results. Some people turn every dream into a conversation and never into a reality. Every time you see them, they repeat enthusiastically what they're going to do. I'm about to launch a business. I'm moving to another country. This time I'm really focusing on my growth. But months go by, you run into them again, and they're still talking about the same things. The details change, the titles change, but the results don't. The funny thing is, maybe you've become that person too. Because talking about what we'll do gives us a false dose of motivation, as if just sharing it already makes us feel successful. But all we're doing is weakening our inner energy, wasting the fuel in words that should go straight into action. Neuroscience has shown that when we announce our goals before taking the first step, the brain feels it's already accomplishing something and relaxes. It's like telling it, we're already making it, when in fact we haven't even started. That's one of the reasons many people don't move forward. They talk so much. They convince themselves they're doing something. But all they're building is an illusion. That's why silence is so powerful. Because there's nothing stronger than a mind busy working without needing to tell anyone what it's doing. When you keep your plans to yourself, you create a concentrated energy field, a kind of bunker where your vision grows stronger, protected from outside doubts and even from your own insecurities. Imagine you're cooking an exquisite dish, but every 5 minutes you lift the lid, show it, taste it, share it. What happens? You lose the heat, interrupt the process, ruin the flavor. The same happens with your dreams. Every time you take them out too soon, they cool down, lose consistency, get diluted in the opinions of others. That's why great achievements are cooked in silence, in that phase where no one applauds, where everything seems invisible, but everything is happening. If you're in a stage of building, do it privately. You don't need likes or approval or witnesses. The only things you need are discipline, focus, and a connection so strong with your vision that you don't care whether anyone else believes in it or not. Because the day you show your results, no one will be able to argue with them, because silence will have done its job, turning you into someone who doesn't need to speak to prove their worth. In the next chapter, you'll discover how silence can stop being just an absence of words and become a powerful focus strategy. And you'll learn to protect your energy from opinions that only confuse what you already know clearly. Chapter 2. How to use silence as a strategy. Silence is not weakness. It is pure intelligence, like the archer who draws his bow in silence, while everyone else shouts without even knowing where to aim. When you learn to stay silent about what's not ready yet, you're protecting your vision like a seed underground. No light, no applause, but growing strong from within. History tells that Thomas Edison worked for years in silence before creating the light bulb. Many mocked his failures because they didn't understand his process. But he didn't stop to explain, didn't hold press conferences, didn't seek likes. He just kept going in silence until his light was so clear it lit up the world. That's the difference between talking about your plans and making your plans speak for you. Silence, when used with intention, becomes a shield. It protects you from noise, from worthless comments, from doubts disguised as advice. When you share your dreams too soon, it's like showing a cake before it's baked. People will judge it by the smell, the shape, without knowing it's not ready yet. Look at the great strategists in history, like Napoleon, who often hid his real moves until the last moment, or like the samurai, who trained for years in silence. So that one strike would be enough. They understood it's not about telling the world what you'll do, but doing so much that the world is forced to notice. When you use silence as a strategy, something powerful happens inside you. Your focus improves, your doubts decrease, your energy concentrates, and your path becomes clearer. Because no one is contaminating it with their opinions, because there's no one to convince. There's only you and your commitment. And that's more than enough. If you've ever felt that people don't take you seriously, maybe it's because you've talked more than you've done. But that can change today. Start by keeping your plans to yourself, by acting without announcing, by letting each step speak louder than any promise. And if you don't know where to start by telling no one what you're building, and watch how, little by little, silence becomes your best strategy to move forward. In the next chapter, you'll see why when you stay silent, the universe starts to listen, and how the power of your silent intention can transform your reality without needing to convince anyone. Because the energy that isn't spent on words turns into results. Chapter 3. When you're silent, the universe listens. There are sounds you can only hear when everything is silent, like the ticking of a clock you used to ignore, or the creaking of wood in an old house. That's how the universe works too. When you talk too much, the noise of your own words drowns out the direction life is trying to give you. But when you stay silent, when you finally breathe and stop over-explaining, you begin to hear signs you used to miss. Ideas, coincidences, intuitions. All of it activates when you're not distracted talking about what you'll do, but focused on doing what you said you would. In ancient times, the great sages would climb mountains or hide in caves, not because they were running away from the world, but because they knew knowledge isn't found shouting in a town square. It's in the inner echo that only reveals itself in stillness. The universe doesn't respond to noise, it responds to vibration. And the strongest vibration isn't the loudest, it's the one with the most coherence. Speaking before acting is like announcing a harvest before planting, like telling everyone you already have the treasure when you've only just found the map. What happens then? Your words become empty promises, and the universe, which works through action, doesn't move with noise, but with focused intention. So, if you really want something to change in your life, stay silent for a while, stop announcing every step, and let your energy build up like an underground current that one day, without warning, breaks through the earth and becomes a river. In that moment, you won't need to say a thing, because the universe already heard you, and it will begin to respond with synchronicities, opportunities, and unexpected turns. And do you know what's the most powerful part of all this? That when the universe truly hears you, the right people will too. But not because you asked, but because you vibrated so strongly, it was impossible not to notice. Chapter 4. Create without warning, surprise without announcing. The ancient temple builders didn't put up a sign announcing what they were going to do. They raised stone upon stone in silence. And one day, when the world looked, it was too late to give opinions, because the temple was already standing. That's how something lasting is built, out of sight, away from judgment, protected by silence. Today, many fail not for lack of talent, but for excess of announcement. They want everyone to know they're starting, that they're dreaming, that they're changing, and without realizing it, their energy goes into justifying, not executing. Speaking too soon is like planting a seed and shouting to the world that the tree has already grown, when all you're really doing is exposing that seed to being stepped on and destroyed. Creating in silence is protecting your project from others' doubts and from your own insecurities. It's like cooking something slowly, with the lid on, so the flavors blend, so the aroma doesn't escape before its time. And when you finally serve the dish, everyone feels the impact, without you having to say a single word. Remember, real respect is not asked for, it's imposed through actions, and surprise is more powerful when no one saw it coming. Those who succeed don't announce what they're going to do. They do it. And then, when they speak, it's because they already have results no one can argue with. Do you want them to believe you? Don't explain. Prove it. Do you want to be respected? Don't beg. Make an impact. Do you want to be heard? Don't shout. Achieve something that speaks for you. And most importantly, don't confuse silence with weakness. Silence is the refuge of those who are creating something that will soon be impossible to ignore. In the next chapter, you'll discover what to do when others doubt you, how to turn criticism into silent fuel, and how to protect your path without needing to convince anyone. Chapter 5. What to do when others doubt you. Every time someone doubts you, you have two options: stop and explain why they're going to be wrong, or keep walking in silence and leave them speechless later on, not because of your speech, but because of your actions. Imagine a farmer planting in dry soil, and everyone in the village laughing because it doesn't rain, telling him he's wasting his time, that nothing will grow. But he doesn't argue. He just smiles, keeps planting, and one day, the rain comes, and the only green field is his. No one laughs then, because results always silence criticism. Sometimes the doubt doesn't just come from outside. It comes from nearby, from your own family, from your friends, from people you think should support you, and they don't. What matters is understanding that they don't see what you see, don't feel what you feel, because that dream wasn't given to them. It was given to you, and only you know how real it is. In those moments, don't fight, don't explain, don't wear yourself out. Just take every doubtful word and turn it into bricks for your own house. Let every "you won't make it" give you more strength to prove you will. Let every look of distrust be a silent push forward. Most people want to see results before they believe, but winners believe before they see. And that's your power, to keep moving forward even when everyone says no, to keep planting even if there are no signs, to keep believing even if you're alone. Because you know that one day, the fruit will speak for you. In the next chapter, you'll develop a mental routine to stay strong even on the days when no one notices. And you'll learn how to sustain your energy without needing applause or external validation. Chapter 6. Mental routine to stay strong while no one notices. There are days when you feel like you're doing everything right, but no one sees it, no one acknowledges it, no one applauds you, and the temptation to give up appears disguised as fatigue, doubts, and silent demotivation. On those days is when you most need a mental routine to hold your vision. Because success doesn't come to those who wait for external motivation, but to those who train themselves to generate it from within. Think of a sculptor striking a massive stone. Day after day, he strikes and strikes, and nothing seems to change. But he knows something others don't see, that every strike, though invisible, is weakening the rock's center, and the day will come when one more strike will split it completely. That's how your consistency in silence works. No one notices your progress, but you must notice it. A mental routine doesn't require hours. It requires intention. It can take just 5 minutes each morning. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and visualize who you're going to be today. Not who you were yesterday, not who you think others believe you are, but who you've decided to embody now. Silently repeat an affirmation that connects with your purpose. It can be as simple as, "I'm moving forward even if no one sees it." "My work is creating something great. I don't need validation, I need vision." Do it every day, especially on the days when you don't feel capable. Those are the most important. Because if you learn to act without needing someone to watch you, you'll become unstoppable. And when the world finally sees you, they won't understand how you did it. But you'll know. You did it because you didn't need them to see it. In the next chapter, you'll discover the exact moment when silence is no longer necessary, and how to know when to show your results with authority, without arrogance, like someone who doesn't seek attention, but truth. Chapter 7. The exact moment when silence is no longer necessary. Not everything should remain a secret forever. Silence is a tool, not a prison. And if you use it well, there comes a moment when your work, your transformation, and your results can no longer be hidden. Because everything you cultivated in the shadows begins to bloom in full view. And right there, precisely there, is when you must show without showing off. Teach without trying to impress. Share without begging for approval. It is said that when Michelangelo finished sculpting David, he covered the statue with a cloth and didn't let anyone see it for days, not because he doubted his work, but because he knew that the silence before the awe makes the impact greater. When he finally removed the veil, no one asked how he did it. They could only remain silent in front of something that spoke for itself. Because when the work is real, it needs no explanation. That's the moment you're aiming for. When what you've built no longer fits in secrecy. When the world needs to see what you created, not out of vanity, but because your evolution became so solid that hiding it would be a betrayal of your purpose. And when it arrives, you don't need to announce it, or justify it, or explain it. Just appear, firm, clear, with results that speak louder than your words. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to handle recognition wisely, without losing the essence of who you were when no one was watching, and how to let humility become the true echo of your success. Chapter 8. When success shouts. Let your humility speak. When your success finally speaks, your ego will want to shout louder. But that's when you must remember that true power doesn't need to raise its voice. Because if silence was your ally during the process, humility will be your guardian in victory. Many lose themselves when others finally listen to them. They think they no longer need silence, or focus, or inner work. They become spokespersons of their own image, and slowly abandon what made them grow. The commitment to themselves, the invisible effort, the discipline without witnesses. But others, the ones who understand, choose another path. Like the tallest trees in the forest that don't boast about their height, they simply provide shade. Or like the wise ones who, even knowing more than all, choose to listen first. Because they understand that success without humility is just vanity. But success with humility is legacy. Remember this, when the world applauds, it's easy to get confused. But if your inner voice remains stronger than the external noise, then you won't lose your way. Because it wasn't applause that shaped you, it was silence. And if before you spoke little to build in peace, now speak little to serve with purpose. Let others be inspired by what you achieved, not because you boast about it, but because it shows in how you walk, how you look, how you live. And now condense everything you've learned. If you've made it this far, you know that silence is not weakness. It is strategy, that your best energy is not in telling your plans, but in executing them. That you don't need to convince anyone when you're already convinced. That what's built without noise blooms without permission. And that true success needs no explanation. This chapter prepares you for the most important closing, because if you've come this far, it's time to learn how to keep your focus, even when you're already winning. In the next chapter, you'll discover how not to fall into the ego trap, how to keep your fire burning, and how to protect your purpose when the world already sees you as someone who made it. Chapter 9. When you want to share it, but you know you shouldn't. There's a moment in every growth process when you feel the urge to talk about what you're doing, to share your plans, show your progress, reveal that small inner victory that's beginning to sprout. But right there is when you can do the most damage to yourself, because not everything that shines in your heart should be exposed to the light, at least not yet. That need to share is nothing more than the mind seeking premature recognition. And every time you do it, every time you speak too soon, it's like opening the door to a heated room. All that warmth, all that creative pressure pushing you forward, escapes. So, what to do when you feel like you can't hold it in and need to talk? Write, but not for others. Write for yourself. Become your own witness. Take a notebook no one sees, and pour into it your ideas, your progress, your emotions, your doubts. Each written word is a release valve that preserves your energy instead of draining it. And if you don't want to write, talk to the project itself, like Nikola Tesla did, who didn't explain his inventions to the world, but talked to them, treated them like living beings, visualized them complete, listened to them, asked them for answers, and they spoke back to him from his mind, because Tesla understood something many still don't, that the idea is an energetic being, and if you respect it, it grows with you. But if you expose it too soon, it may die of cold in the face of others' opinions. When you feel like you're about to explode, turn it into art, into paper, into motion, channel it, don't share it, and like that, every time you return to that intimate space where only you and your vision exist, you'll feel that you don't need validation, because you were already heard by the one who truly matters, yourself. And if you don't know where to begin, start with this phrase: "This is just for me." Because while everyone runs to tell, you'll be training in silence to surprise, and if you wonder when the time to speak will come, you won't know it. Your result will. Because true success is never announced. Now you know. You don't need to raise your voice. When it's your life that shouts that you've won, every silent decision, every day you planted without witnesses, every moment you kept quiet about what you were creating, brought you here. Because when success shouts, it's not out of pride, it's because it can no longer be hidden. And you who knew how to keep your plan secret, hold your vision, and move in the shadows without losing your path, are now proof that those who don't need to be seen end up shining brighter than all the spotlights. Be quiet until your success is so strong that no one can ignore it.